Once upon a time, in a small, secluded village nestled deep within a dense forest, there existed a legend whispered among the locals. It was a tale of terror that haunted their dreams and sent shivers down their spines whenever the moon hung full and luminous in the midnight sky. The legend spoke of a creature, neither man nor beast, that roamed the woods under the cloak of darkness. It was said to be a werewolf, cursed by some ancient and malevolent force to forever dwell in the liminal space between human and animal. The villagers lived in constant fear of this monstrous being, for it was believed that anyone who crossed its path would meet a grisly fate. They would vanish without a trace, their screams echoing through the trees as the creature dragged them into the depths of the forest, never to be seen again. Despite their terror, the villagers had grown accustomed to the presence of the werewolf, adapting their lives to avoid its wrath. They would lock themselves indoors as soon as the sun dipped below the horizon, barricading their doors and shuttering their windows against the night. Children were forbidden from venturing into the woods alone, and even the bravest of hunters would not dare to tread its shadowy depths. But one fateful night, a young man named Lucas dared to defy the warnings of his elders. Fueled by a reckless curiosity and a desire to prove his bravery, he set out into the forest under the light of the full moon, determined to uncover the truth behind the legend of the werewolf. As Lucas ventured deeper into the woods, the air grew thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the rustling of leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. The moon cast its ethereal glow upon the forest floor, illuminating the path ahead with an otherworldly light. Suddenly a chill ran down Lucas's spine as he heard the unmistakable sound of footsteps crunching through the underbrush. His heart raced with a mixture of excitement and fear as he realized that he was not alone in the forest. Could it be the werewolf, lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce upon its unsuspecting prey? With bated breath, Lucas pressed on, his senses heightened to the slightest movement in the darkness. Every snap of a twig, every rustle of leaves sent a jolt of adrenaline coursing through his veins, his mind racing with vision of the creature that haunted the villagers' nightmares. Hours passed, and still, Lucas wandered deeper into the heart of the forest, gripping his trusty Swiss Army knife, his determination unyielding despite the gnawing fear that clawed at his consciousness. And then, just when he began to doubt the existence of the werewolf, he heard it, a low, guttural growl that echoed through the trees like a primal warning. Frozen in place, Lucas felt his blood run cold as he realized that he was being watched. Peering into the darkness, he caught a glimpse of two gleaming eyes glowing in the moonlight, their gaze fixed upon him with an intensity that sent a shiver down his spine. Summoning every ounce of courage he possessed, Lucas called out into the night, his voice trembling with fear yet tinged with a hint of defiance. "Show yourself, creature of the night. I'm not afraid of you." For a moment, there was nothing but silence, the tension hanging thick in the air like a suffocating fog. And then, with a suddenness that took Lucas by surprise, the creature emerged from the shadows, its form towering and imposing against the backdrop of the moonlit forest. It was unlike anything Lucas had ever seen, a grotesque amalgamation of man and wolf, its fur matted and stained with the blood of its victims, its eyes burning with a feral hunger that sent a shudder of dread coursing through his veins. But even as fear threatened to consume him, Lucas stood his ground, his gaze locked with that of the creature before him. "Why do you haunt these woods, beast?" he demanded, his voice steady despite the turmoil raging within his heart. "What curse has befallen you to roam the night in search of prey?" The werewolf regarded Lucas with a mixture of curiosity and amusement, its lips curling back in a snarl that revealed rows of razor-sharp teeth. "Curse?" it growled, its voice low and guttural like the rumble of distant thunder. "The truth is far more sinister than you can imagine." And with that, the werewolf began to recount its tale, a tale of betrayal and tragedy, of a man torn asunder by forces beyond his control. Long ago, it had been a simple woodsman, living in harmony with the creatures of the forest and the rhythms of nature. But all of that had changed when he crossed paths with a witch whose beauty masked a darkness that chilled the soul. Enraptured by her beauty, the woodsman had fallen under the witch's spell, oblivious to the malevolent forces that lurked beneath her facade of innocence. And when she revealed her true nature, it was too late. The curse had already been cast, binding him to a fate worse than death. Transformed into a werewolf by the witch's magic, the woodsman had become a slave to his primal instincts, doomed to roam the forest in search of sustenance. But even in his darkest moments, a sliver of humanity remained, a flicker of light amidst the encroaching darkness. As the werewolf's tale unfolded, Lucas listened with attention. He had expected to encounter a mindless monster, driven by instinct and devoid of reason, a being whose suffering mirrored a rabid animal. Lucas found himself face to face with the monstrous creature. The arrogance he'd felt moments ago melted away as fear clenched his heart. The werewolf lunged, its razor-sharp claws tearing through Lucas's flesh, sending searing pain shooting through his body. With adrenaline surging, Lucas reached for his pocket, fingers fumbling until they found the cold metal of his Swiss Army knife. Gripping it tightly, he summoned every ounce of courage he had left. As the beast reared back for another attack, Lucas thrust the blade forward, aiming for the creature's heart. A howl of agony pierced the night as the knife found its mark, sinking deep into the werewolf's chest. Blood sprayed, coating Lucas's hands as he pushed the blade in further, his own pain forgotten in the heat of the moment. The werewolf stumbled back, its once fierce gaze now filled with shock and pain. With a final, desperate snarl, it collapsed to the ground, life draining from its body. Breathing heavily, Lucas stared at the fallen creature, his hands still trembling from the encounter. But as the first rays of sunlight bathed the forest in golden hues, the werewolf began to tremble, its form shifting and contorting as the curse that bound it began to unravel. With a final roar of anguish, the creature collapsed to the forest floor, its body convulsing in agony as the last vestiges of its monstrous form dissolved into nothingness. Lucas was astonished to see a man lying before him, a man whose features were worn and weathered yet undeniably human. In that moment of revelation, Lucas realized the true nature of the curse that had plagued the werewolf, the curse of loneliness and despair, of being condemned to a life devoid of love and companionship. "You are free now," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion, "free from the chains that once bound you to darkness."